What up, y'all? AJ here with some more for you, and judging by the title of the video, I'm starting a new series on my channel. Yeah, I know, another one. It's no secret that I'm a huge horror fan, so along with my new podcast, Destination 180, I decided to add this little extension here called D180 Info Desk. And basically what it is, I'll be reviewing movies. Some of them will be on the podcast, some of them won't. And I'll be pointing out little Easter eggs and things that I noticed in the movie. So if you want to learn more info, you can roll with me. And since it's Valentine's Day season, I don't know if that's a thing, whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. Since it's the season of love, why not do 2001's Valentine? Directed by Jamie Blanks, which some of you might be familiar with as he's the one for starting the franchise Urban Legend, which both movies released in the post-Scream era. So check this out. In 1996, when Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson dropped Scream, they unintentionally started a whole new horror genre. No, I'm not saying they were the first ones to do it, but their movie just did it better than everybody else. There's a formula to these movies.
A very simple formula!
We got beautiful teenagers or college students, whatever have you. They do something or something just happens to happen to them. Someone's coming after them for revenge, and the identity of the killer, either we know who it is or we don't know who it is. There's a very simple formula here, people.
Everybody's a suspect!
During that era, some of those formula films actually had a little inventive edge that would set them apart, but still be in the shadow of Ghostface. Other films would just sit in the shadows. I'm not saying that these films are bad. I like a lot of these, especially this one. Clearly it's in my intro. Based on a novel of the same name by Tom Savage, the movie originally had a different tone and storyline, and was set on a college campus before being rewritten. Honestly, the only thing it had in common with the book was its name. The killer also had a lot going on too. The mask was, according to Blanks, the result of a process called masqueration, being requested to resemble the cherubs inspired by the painter Sandro Botticelli. When you look at it, when you have like the better quality with the DVD or whatever, you can actually see that the mask is canvas and not just plastic. There were also slight issues with taping. Around the 40-minute mark of the movie, those scenes were interrupted by a guy who insisted on laying on his horn until the crew was forced to pay the guy to stop. There also wasn't an identity set for the Cupid mask killer either, until a news article announced that David was the villain. Way to spoil it, right? Then scheduling issues stopped David from even filming as the actual killer. In fact, he doesn't even play the killer in majority of those scenes. Now that we've brushed up on some background, let's get ready to go into the movie. But remember, I am going to be pointing out some things, so stay with me. Valentine, starring Katherine Heigl, Denise Richards, David Boreanaz, Marley Shelton, who plays Deputy Judy in Scream 4, Jessica Kauffel, and Jessica Capshaw, who was partially cast off being Spielberg's stepdaughter, takes place in 1988 during a school Valentine's Day dance, where Jeremy Melton, looking for a dance, is rejected by 4 popular girls. Finally asking Dorothy, who is insecurely sitting alone on the bleachers, he gets a yes, and that turns into them making out under the bleachers, until a group of bullies, one of them being Noel Fisher, who played Brian in Final Destination 2, catches the pair.
Check it out. Thick and thin, getting it on. Yes, you like it, Buffalo? Getting hot?
Embarrassed, Dorothy falsely accuses Jeremy of attacking her, resulting in him being carried with fruit punch and beat up in front of everyone at the dance. This is also where we see his nose bleed for the first time, but I'll come back around to that. Now in the present, after a painfully terrible date, pre-med student Shelley, who is studying for her finals with her cadaver Chad, who is actually an assistant named Chad, is given a cryptic but creative Valentine's card, then murdered by a Cupid mask killer with a nosebleed. So the bloody nose thing is inspired by Jack Schroeder's movie Alone in the Dark, where the killer also had a bloody nose thing going on there. After reuniting at Shelley's funeral, Kate, Paige, Lily, and Dorothy begin to endure strange occurrences, some even receiving threatening Valentine's Day cards that are all marked with the initials JM. Having no idea who that could be, the crew eventually comes to think of Jeremy Melton during a speed dating event. Throughout the movie, the girls all encounter some of the most terrible men serving as our red herrings. Let's see. There's Adam, Kate's on-again, off-again boyfriend who's trying to stay sober. Conboy Campbell, a guy that's scamming Dorothy. Brian, a guy Paige picks up at a different speed dating event that just makes the creepiest faces. Scary Gary, Kate's neighbor who sometimes breaks into her house and tries on her underwear. And Max, Lily's date, who tries to pull her into a threesome. Upset by this and trying to leave, Lily gives the weekend inspo for his Super Bowl performance before being dumped by the Cupid Mask Killer. This goes unnoticed for some time considering she was leaving to LA after the event. Another red herring is Dorothy, who considers herself the fat girl of the group and is borderline jealous of her friends, who also admits to Paige and Kate after a meeting with Detective Vaughn as a group that she lied about the entire incident between she and Jeremy in middle school out of embarrassment because he was the only guy to approach her. Her lies landed Jeremy in reform school, then juvie a year later, and a short 6-month stay in a mental hospital before he completely fell off the radar. According to police record, that is. Also detailed in their report is the fact that his parents unfortunately died in a fire-ruled accident, and the possibility, considering no one knows where he is or knows what he looks like, he might have undergone plastic surgery.
Do you have any more recent pictures of him?
If we did, don't you think we'd be looking at them? The point is, this could be anything.
Later at Dorothy's Valentine's Day party, Kate is serving, Dorothy is upset Conboy Campbell hasn't shown up yet, and Paige once again is put in a position of being taken advantage of, but in true bad bitch fashion, she handles herself well.
What are you doing?
Never mind. It's a surprise. Still want me to wax it?
Yes, I do.
Oh! Oh my... Oh, God! Hey! Bitch! Oh!
More drama ensues after Ruthie, Conboy's former victim, crashes the party and openly reads Dorothy, exposing the necklace given to her by Conboy as her own, and the fact that he only wanted her for money. While Kate and Paige see Ruthie out, Max pulls up on Kate, telling her Lily never made it to LA. Finding a crying Dorothy in her room, they conclude that maybe Paige knows something about Lily. Receiving a call from Detective Vaughn, Kate is told that Jason, Shelley's annoying date from earlier, has been released as a suspect. In turn, Kate informs him about Lily not making it to LA. Paige, who had been alone in the hot tub, was attacked and murdered by the Cupid Mask Killer, causing the power to go out, ending the already failing party. As the other guests leave, Dorothy and Kate begin to argue, accusing each other's boo of being the killer. Kate dropping a meta reference about David, which was the only one blanks allowed in the script, not wanting to step in full screen territory.
Okay, fine. He's no angel, but he's not a murderer.
Going their separate ways, Kate goes into final girl territory, finding a beheaded Detective Vaughn and running into a drunk Adam upset he was rejected after she caught him drinking. Chasing her through the house, the two had to take extra caution, especially the scene where Kate hits Adam in the face with the bottle. The studio originally wanted to cut that moment because they was like, no, we can't risk David's face. Like, that's just not gonna work. Escaping and stumbling upon the rest of the dead characters, Kate grabs a gun and is spooked by the Cupid Killer, sending both of them tumbling down the stairs, temporarily knocking them out. Pulling a Michael Myers, the Cupid Mask Killer is lit up by Adam, who reveals the killer as Dorothy. While we wait for the police, the couple comfort each other while we see blood drip on Kate from Adam's nose, letting us know it was actually him. Adam has been Jeremy Melton this entire time. Jamie Blanks likes to think of this part as poetic. He says there's something poetic about him dripping on his last victim. That's what he said, but I also see Kate as an idiot for not immediately responding to anything dripping on her. I watched this movie for the first time a few weeks ago for my podcast Destination 180. So if you want to hear me talk about it more in depth and scene by scene, you can go listen there. But For now, I'll say that I actually think that this movie deserved a lot more than it got. Not too much though. Yes, there are writing problems that definitely could have been a lot tighter, but I think the concept is cool. I think the kills are great. They could have been gorier, but it wasn't even the MPAA that knocked them down. It was actually the studio that suggested that they clean up some of the kills, considering Columbine was, y'all know how this goes. I don't have to explain that part to you. I really like the idea of Dorothy being a red herring. Now, I hear that at first she was actually going to be the killer, possibly. But that would have been cool too. Now, something that would have drove this home for me, and I bring this up in the podcast, but I'm going to say it again just in case you guys don't give a shit. What if in the very beginning, after the whole situation happened with Jeremy Milton, what if we see her like embarrassed? She's embarrassed, right? And she grabs a mask and she just like slides up out the gym through like the back door or something. So it would explain why she had a mask all those years. And we see how jealous she is of her friends, even though it seems she should be happy given her circumstance. Well, no, I guess her dad is banging someone that's like her age. But I mean, Dorothy being a red herring actually works here. I actually wish they just would have done a lot more with that. Also with Conboy getting stabbed in the back, because metaphorically he was doing the same thing to her. So to me, I feel her being the killer just would have made that. I don't think Adam should have been the killer. Damn article. I even had slight hints that Paige was the killer. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if they were trying to do like a little Scream moment. But I honestly was looking at Paige, not just because she's beautiful, but because sometimes she would just be shifty-eyed in a lot of those scenes. Go back and watch that movie and tell me she didn't look suspicious. I even feel slightly like they gave us enough reason to care about some of the characters. As I said earlier, you felt bad for Dorothy because she just deemed herself the fat girl of the group, even though she was very pretty. And her dad is just whatever. Anyway, and then you got Paige, who's always being over-sexualized by men, and she's not even warranting their advances. Like, she's handling herself well, but she's not even asking for it. Like, just because she's beautiful and she wants to take her jacket off in every single scene, like, I didn't care enough for Kate as a final girl. Did she play the role well? Yes, but I feel like we were too tangled in her relationship with Adam that we really didn't get to know her. All we know about her is that she's in the friend group and she works at the paper. That's it. What else? Like, I don't have any other reason to care that she's in danger. I mean, even with Lily, it was just like Lily was just there as well. Like, okay, yeah, she got pulled into an unwanted threesome, but okay, what's her story? Like, she looked fun. She looked like somebody I wanted to hang around. And while I'm on Lily, it definitely upset me that her friends didn't check on her. I don't know about you guys, but anytime my friends go anywhere, not anywhere, but out of town, I'm hitting them up before they leave. I would like for them to let me know that they've gotten there, even if it's just an Instagram post and I just see your feet in the sand or wherever you are. Girl, say something. Like, your friends are shitty for not checking up on you. These aren't really deal breakers, but maybe the tighter writing. But this is just stuff that can be better. I'd actually like to see a remake of this. Definitely a more diverse cast, but I feel like somebody can definitely shape these characters out a little bit better and do something else with the property. I don't know. Not a shitty remake, a good remake. So let me just put a good remake in the air. No shitty remakes. So that's it for this trip to D180 Info Desk. What did you think about this movie? Did you instantly know who the killer was? Have you even seen this movie? Did you see it when it came out, or did you see it recently like I just did? You can tell me all that stuff down below. And like I said, if you want to listen to me talk about this more, you can listen to my podcast D180. I'll do something where you can click that and we'll meet up next time.